One, May the 4th. Join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, we have approved our minutes from April the 20th and the accounts payable vouchers and payroll docket. I would entertain a motion to accept as submitted.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes, the payable vouchers and the payroll dockets.
I second that.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay, next thing we have is it's a DLZ additional payment. Okay. I got too many papers here.
You got one right here?
I got it. Okay. There we go. I'll let Phil explain this. He's more finesse than I have.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Philip Wink with DLZ. I just wanted to review the additional service request letter that DLZ submitted the other week to the commissioners. Our contract for construction phase is our fee has 18-month duration, and when you take into account our fee, it's about $11,000 per month. And we recently received the updated schedule for Shireman Construction for the CM in March, with a new construction completion in the month of July of 2023. So construction started in June of 2021, so that's 25-month construction timeframe. Our contract with the commissioners states that we can request additional fee if it exceeds the 18 months within our contract. So that's an additional 7 months time period. With the average $11,000 per month, we're requesting $77,000 in fee. And if by chance there's any additional months added for some reason, we're just asking that we just keep it that rate for any additional months past July. So that's the short version of the letter. Any questions about that? Eric's here with me. If there's any questions you have about it, you have any answers.
I know it's worded in the contract, and our construction rep said, you know, he was okay with it, so. You guys got any discussion on it?
Done letter, contract.
I mean, we're close to doing business, so.
The letter or the copy I just gave you, the body of it's the same. The only difference is the third page, there's a signature page for you to sign if you choose to approve it tonight.
Right.
So,
I would entertain a motion to pay their additional payment then.
I move we accept their proposal to pay $77,000 for the additional 7 months to this construction schedule as presented by DLZ in the letter dated 20 April.
I second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion before the board? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
thank you very much.
You will receive your settlement then. Okay. What? Well, take this back to the bill. Get her now, it is, that was probably done.
I'm gonna scan it so you guys
That's fine.
can join.
If you want to sign a second one, you can have that.
Okay.
There's another here.
Make it painless. I mean, we've got one.
You can.
Okay, Erica, you have the floor there.
So, my name is Erica. I'm from the Jefferson County Commissioner's Office. First, paper that I handed out to you guys should look like this with the colors. That is the 2023 Federal Cash Control Register. Okra provides this form specifically along with some others. And so I just thought it'd be nice to print that out so you guys can see the businesses that are putting money into the revolving loan fund. Okra has said that whenever you guys are ready to revolve this loan, then you have the right to do that. There isn't a certain term that you have to wait until. Now, obviously, you don't want to revolve money today, you know, if there were only $15,000 in it and you revolved money today, and then you had nothing and only wait 2 weeks and then revolve it again, you know, you're not really benefiting small businesses as much. So I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware that that's something that you can revolve up to your discretion. I've been in communication with the auditor's office and the treasurer's office, and we've decided to try and start revolving these a little bit sooner. When this began in 2019, the plan was that we were gonna wait 2 years, because in 2 years, these small businesses will be forgiven with their 4-year term that they get. So instead of waiting for 2 years, we've talked and decided that it might be more beneficial for the community if we can start revolving those at least twice a year. So this is open again. It was open May the 1st. I was really proud of myself today. I created a QR code. I didn't know how to do that, and I self-taught myself how to make a QR code. So I have a little flyer that's on the first floor. Then I have one, the Jefferson County clerk, she's got a spot on her bulletin board that she tells me I can always put something up there for the public. So when the public's coming up to the second floor, they can see that information. I haven't went to the third floor to really post anything. I don't know if there's really people that are going up there for those kind of situations as much. But I have an extra one to put up there. You'll see that right now, currently, there's $27,120.46 in the Federal Cash Control Register in the fund for the revolving loan fund. I put down a little line item there just based on the payments that come through monthly, estimating for June that you will be able to award however many businesses you decide to award with a total amount of $29,800. So that'll be the money that you can use to award to those small businesses. There were some small businesses that reached out to me personally, just because, you know, I've got the flyers up, and I've already emailed them some information. We have it on the website. We also have it on our Facebook page. So I've given a copy of it also to the newspaper, and hopefully I'll get in touch with the radio station and get them some information as well. On the second page here, I think I gave you guys 2 of these, just so that you can spread these in your areas wherever you're communicating with people in the community. It just gives a basic list of the qualifications. You have to be a small business. You had to have been established and profitable. since 2019. If you started your business in 2020, you are ineligible. This is still a 4-year term. There is still no interest, and we still will forgive that loan after 2 years. Those are things that we absolutely cannot change, and we have to abide by our original application to Okra, and so those things can't change. Eligible expenses are things to operate a business. So I just included rent, utilities, payroll, if they're still using personal protective equipment, or if they had a large expense that they can show in 2019 that they spent on their personal protective equipment. So that's not an exclusive list. It's just an idea to give those small businesses something to look at. And then again, ineligible businesses are any 501c3s, any municipalities cannot apply. Any small business that has received COVID-19 relief funding from Okra, they can't apply for this as well. They've already been relieved from Okra. And obviously any small businesses outside of Jefferson County, because this is just for Jefferson County small businesses. All the applications are due June 2nd by noon. And then we have another commissioners meeting that's scheduled Thursday, June 15th. And after you guys are able to look through all those applications and you decide which and how many businesses you want to grant that loan to or give that loan to, then we'll make that announcement on the 15th. So that's all I've got there. If anybody has any questions, I've put my email out there for everyone to email me. Also, Renisha, she wanted me to give you guys, did you guys get a little logo? Yeah, we had tried this at the beginning. When the broadband task force was pretty much first established, we created a logo contest. We thought it would explode, you know, because what kid doesn't want a gift card for $200 from Amazon? Well, apparently they didn't want one or something. So it was, we struggled on getting the information out, I'd say maybe. And then also there were some things in the application that my kids pointed out to me. It made it difficult to actually apply. So we've revamped that. Renisha has revamped that so that the kids can, from their laptop or computer, you know, that they're always on for homework, they can log into this little QR code or this little form here and fill that out and submit that. It's just something to make some more awareness of broadband and digital inclusion and what's going on in Jefferson County for the expansion of broadband. So that's all I've got.
So can the QR code go on those places, like the Facebook page and the county website? Can the...
Yeah, I created a JPEG image that I gave to Sarah.
Okay.
And so when she put it on the Facebook page and when she put it on the website, that little QR code is on there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Just wanted you to mention on the
Mhm.
flyers, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Thanks for what you've done on this
Yeah.
revolving loan.
Did you realize it when you started?
I didn't realize it, but you know,
Neither did we, so.
No.
I'm not someone that
No
really
idea.
enjoys talking, but I am just gonna say one thing, that this is, I enjoy whenever you guys do pick those small businesses because I get to see firsthand how it's really changing some people's lives. So it's a great thing to do for the community, and it's a way for them to repay it as well. You know, they're getting a gift from you guys. It's a huge gift. It's 0 interest. You can't find loans like that nowadays. So it's a huge gift that you guys are giving them. And when they're making their payments, that money is going back into a fund so that it's able to be re-gifted again. So, yeah, it's a process, and I'm not happy when State Board of Accounts comes around, but it's all part of the job.
Nobody is.
Yeah, it's all part of the job, and that is what makes it gratifying, that you're actually impacting people and in the community that I live in. So,
Well, thanks again. for
yeah,
what you
thank
do.
you for letting me do it.
And may the fourth be with you.
Yeah, we could have gone off immediately.
Yeah, we. Loser. Okay. Do we have anybody from Audubon Park? Mr. May. Come on down.
All right. I appreciate you guys giving me your ear for a few minutes. I'm a resident, my name is Dwayne May. I'm a resident of the Audubon Park subdivision. About 12 years ago, give or take, there was a massive drainage project out there to cure severe drainage issues out in that area. We got some grant money. It was supposed to be 500,000. I think it was more than that. And it solved a lot of the issues. We had new lines put down, we had new storm drains put in, new culverts, new tile laid. In my home and in my area, it solved the problem. But farther north, especially, there's about 12 to 15 units at the tail end of Quail that still get flooded out. They got, if it got any better, it didn't get any better for very long. So if they get any substantial rain in a short amount of time, it's just a pond back there. And of course, with that comes the health issues. You know, you got mold, you got bacteria, all those things that come along with standing water, snakes, varmints. There's structural damage that's been reported. Subfloors happen to be replaced. One resident said the water got so high at one time it actually went into their floorboard of their car. And I have a couple residents here, Mr. Torrance and Mr. Barnes. And if you guys want to see pictures, they can give you those. And some of the things, and they actually sent me a couple of pictures too. It's just heartbreaking to see people living in those kind of conditions. So, and plus what it does to their home, their property value, it just decimates it. How are you going to move a house if you want to move out of it? If you get an inch of rain in a short amount of time, you're just in the middle of a pond from yard to yard and across the road. So that just destroys property value. It does structural damage, the health implications of it. So what this is tonight, and I'm representing these guys, what this is tonight is hopefully step one in finishing our job and give them some relief back there and get that issue taken care of. I also have Mr. Olson. I talked to him. He was the county engineer at the time, and he was integral in getting that project put through. He was very helpful. And again, there were there is marked improvement back there. Don't get me wrong, but those guys still, they didn't get the benefit of it. They did not get the benefit of it. So we need to finish what we started. So I didn't know if you guys want to make any comments on that. I saw Mr. Torrance somewhere. Right here. Well, there he is. If anybody, and I think Mr. Olson may have some input about what we could do going forward to fix that. And if there's anything I can do from the standpoint of the council, I'm new to the council, but anything I can do as far as maybe I'm aware that we might need more grant money. So I'd be willing to help write a grant. Again, anything that I can do to help give these guys some relief back there, I would be willing to do that. Mr. Olson, did you want to say a few words about this?
Well, I was very pleased to have the opportunity to work and help Audubon Park back in the day. And the water drains east, that Audubon Park where it's located, drains from the east, from that field into the subdivision. Then there's the creek and that comes from the north that drains into it. And one thing I would like to point out is I haven't been out to observe the actual problem, so just kind of guess what might be the problems with the whole drainage, the project, the drainage that we put in, the actual improvements are based on the water getting away from Audubon Park. It's an open creek. It kind of angles southwest from the midpoint on the subdivision, and it goes under. You can see the big culverts under Hutchison Lane, just east of, or west, excuse me, Craigmont Street. I'd say, and this may tie in with the drainage study that the county is performing or having performed right and so on. is kind of looking at that, drainage from the subdivision line going to Hutchison Lane and making sure that it's, hasn't silted in or, blocking the water back, which could cause, the problem back there on Quail Drive that was discussed. And, you know, that's a relatively low cost problem, by the way, if that does happen to. Unfortunately, that's, of course, you're on private property, and that's one of the issues that the drainage study will get into, I'm sure, is dealing with private landowners. When that project was done, the county had an agreement with the landowner at that time to improve the drainage there. It had silted in over the years. That's, if there's any specific questions or if something comes up in the future, I'm very, very happy to try to volunteer and assistance.
Well, I know, because I was involved in that too. It was about 11 years ago, but anyway, Bobby probably backed me up on this. Part of the problem is that creek to the north. Because it gets full of debris and it doesn't get down to the big culverts there on Hutchison Lane. There's, I think, 3 big ones there side by side, and they're right past Christian Academy and that going west towards the new jail. And, you know, there again, it's private property, so we can't go in there, and you'd have to have DNR or Department of Water let you in there to do anything anyway, so.
I hadn't thought of it, but perhaps the creek that comes from the north, that's kind of the northeast, I think, it comes in, it has to go under Quail Drive. And, you know, that culvert is none too big, so perhaps, you know, that could be contributing to the problem if it's blocked up. Perhaps it just comes up onto Quail and Quail downhill to the rest of it. Could contribute to the people at the.
What's that been, about 2 years ago? We went out there and did quite a bit on that one corner for the gentleman, remember?
Before COVID, said it was 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we cleaned up a lot. Of course, we had his permission to do it, so that helped, but you know, we just have to
There are,
put eyes on it and look at it.
there are drainage easements surrounding all the lines. I'm not a legal guy, I'm not sure what all that, what that allows with that.
They're gonna be building a new subdivision budding up to that. I think our properties, I'm thinking is
You
building,
mean the old J.W. Butler place
I believe that's right.
where Rick Russell
I
owns
think
now?
there's like,
I don't know what they're gonna do with the water.
yeah.
You can't get rid of what's there now. I just do not fathom how they're gonna.
Yeah, they've got a plan, I think it's
112
like
units.
75, how many is
I
it?
thought he said 112 when I
Okay.
went to the meeting.
Okay,
700 units.
112. I think that's what I heard him say.
So that's about the same size
It's
as
40
ours,
some acres, isn't it? I think.
42 acres. So
And it's
that'll
flat
even
as
make
this
it worse
table.
if they'll fix it.
So you're just gonna be adding injury to insult with that.
We can't let that happen. We just cannot let that happen.
But I'd say, all I know, we'd have to just go put eyes on it. And
Let me throw my 2 cents in real quick. That north field to the north of where our properties are along the north side of Quail on the dead end. Is a big farm field behind us and the water just rolls in and it has no place to go. So it just continues to roll in our backyard. I don't know the technical solution, but if we had some way to carry that water out to the creek, it would make things a whole lot easier for the houses along that end. I could berm the backyard, my back edge of my yard, and that would help mine, but I'm going to compromise people along the sides of me. The guy that just built a house to the east side of me tried to fix his, and it made everybody else's worse.
put it off on somebody else.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, it happened to be a day where we had a deluge of rain and it just enhanced the problem, but that farm field to the north of us, I mean, I've got pictures, you can see the water rolling down to the south towards our property, and there's no way to carry it out because it has no place to go. There's no trench, there's no ditch, there's no nothing, so, that would help our problem. Kind of what Dwayne's alluding to, that we need help alleviating the problem in the water coming into the field. You know, I don't have the time, money, or manpower to, if I want to fix mine, I feel obligated to help other people around me, and there's just can't do that. We need outside help. So whatever can be done should be greatly appreciated for us to live with this problem for the 22 years I've been back there. So it started from day one. So it's not like this is a problem that's just cropped up with new dwellings there. It's always been there, because that field has always been there and the water's always run the same thing. So, you know, whatever can be done, we'd appreciate it.
Okay. I think we need to have somebody know the drainage, don't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, so we're putting together a stormwater management plan, and to get funding, you gotta have a plan. So once we,
Project?
well, yeah, so once that plan is completed, which should be sometime this summer, then we'll be able to apply for, you know, Okra has funding for stormwater projects and others, so we'll have to, but you can't, unfortunately, if you don't have a plan, getting the money is.
First hurdles have the plan.
Yeah, so we should have that finished this summer, so I'm sorry I won't help you tomorrow, but hopefully by the summer, then, you know, whenever the grant cycles are, we can start applying for that, because we have a few other spots around the county that have issues with stormwater, and so that's kind of been the part of the plan. Will be identifying at least those that we know of. Them, obviously, you're not gonna know all of them at once, but so.
Okay.
Thank you.
We will keep you up to date on the progress there. So we've got a rough draft that's been put together, and we're put some comments on it. We're gonna pass it out to a team and let them start looking at it, and then we'll, like I said, sometime towards the summer, we should have that completed.
Okay. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
I appreciate you guys giving me your time.
Okay. Next, we have a settlement agreement. I'm not 100% sure. Do we have to mention names on this or not? What's your,
All those maps.
So, I don't remember what that said.
I don't either. I'm gonna say no, wouldn't you?
It's gonna be public record, so people wanna know.
I guess we could just read the settlement agreement.
Yep, I think we could, and
Just. Okay. I guess we ought to do a little background first.
sure.
Chris, you can jump in at any time here to help me out, but basically what happened last, I'm gonna say August. A dog was taken to Carroll County to be neutered, and it had some issues. And those issues weren't made evident when it was brought back. And they were kind of masked, so later on in November, a resident adopted that dog, good faith. Everything was supposed to be fine, and about February, the animal hit the skids. It was on a weekend, so they had to take it to Metropolitan or something like that.
Pearl.
Yeah, Blue Pearl, which is very expensive, to say the least. They had a large bill, so the people came to us and to our county attorney, and his all indications were they had a valid case. If they wanted to take it to court, they didn't want to. They just wanted to be made whole, and his interpretation was make them whole and let's move on. Is that a pretty good?
Yeah, they deserve that. They
Sure.
really did. That was, the whole situation was just. I don't know how the records never got known.
I mean, it was either not conveyed or to the director at that time, but anyway, bottom line, they adopted the dog that it was, as far as they knew, everything was sound.
When I
which-
came in, the dog showed no symptoms of any illness. You know, when I first met it, I would have never thought it had those issues that was
Right.
dated back in August.
So anyway, at the county attorney's recommendation, we agreed to make the people whole, and this is gonna be public record anyway, so I'll just read the settlement agreement. Adam and Lindsay Bullock, in persons and without counsel, in the county of Jefferson, the county, by the Jefferson County Commissioners, and with counsel, Pat McGrath, having reached an agreement to resolve all claims and issue as to all parties, now enter the following agreement in resolution of this matter. The county will pay the Bullocks the amount of $9,436.63. The Bullocks will release and are satisfied as to all claims associated with canine reference in attachment A. All parties agree that by making said payment, the county makes no admission of liability or fault. All parties recognize, intend, and specifically agree that this settlement agreement resolves all issues between the party and operates as a waiver and a forfeiture of any claim of every nature, any kind whatsoever, known or unknown, suspected or unsuspected, that were asserted, could have been asserted, or could be asserted in the future against either party regarding any and all past, present, and or future claims arising from the adoption and care for the canine referenced in attachment A. So, as I say, we were advised by council to make this agreement to make them whole and not have any further repercussions on the county. It was a bad situation, but it happened, and you know, I think the three of us thought it was fair since they adopted the dog on good faith. So, so that being said,
So I move we approve the settlement agreement as read.
okay.
I second.
Any other discussion before the board? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. So be.
I just want to let y'all know that we've taken major steps to make sure all records are with each animal,
Well, now,
with the owner and with us.
but don't you have whoever takes an animal's initials and then picks it, if it's a different initials, and if there's
Yeah.
any
Yeah,
implications, you have a copy of it to bring
Yeah.
back, so this will not surface again, right?
Correct.
Okay,
We're
Thank
taking a bunch of stuff.
yeah,
I've got a paper trail and a computer trail and a email trail of every animal
Yeah.
that goes everywhere, so
thanks for staying on top of that.
you're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Phillips.
Good evening.
Evening.
Oh, let's see, I guess I'll just start at the top and maybe I won't skip something. One of the projects that we've got out there that we'll be opening bids on May the 18th is a cold central plant recycling project. Everybody's saying, what in the heck is that? It is basically recycled millings that we will inject with some emulsion and have laid in place just like we would a hot mix road. And then we'll come back in and chip seal that this year or next year, depending on what time allows. Those bids will be opened at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they'll be at the highway garage. And that way we've got time to kind of proof those and make sure everything's in order so we can request award that evening if everything checks out. There's also some RFPs out with, and those are requests for proposals on 3 bridges, be 171, 172, 173 for rehabs on or prior to 2028, depending on how funding is. They've already kind of mentioned that those are going to be moved back to the state's fiscal year, 2029. Hopefully we can move some of those forward because inflation has been eating NDOT and everybody else alive. So all these projects just continue to escalate in prices. So yesterday was the best time to repair something. So today's the next best time. We'll see what 2028 brings us, guys, but that's kind of the best we can do. I do need an autograph. One of the things, luckily, I'm not coming asking for money. I'm gonna make you aware that we got some money and I just need this agreement signed with NRCS. And it was a grant during the flood that we had, or that flash rain, whatever you want to call it, that did its destruction to a lot of Brushy Fork as well as Switzerland County, Ohio County. We got turned down for FEMA. There was a couple of projects that weren't as large for the FEMA project, and I wasn't really sure that they would classify for that and wasn't sure how funding was going to be available. So I also turned in 2 projects with USDA. In those 2 projects, they combined for about 500 and, hold on, I wrote it on my paper, so we're gonna have to find $506,357.50. Those did get approved, so all I need is an autograph for this agreement, so I can keep that going forward, and we can request some bids and quotes for those. The documentation that they sent me still had David Bramer's phone number, name and information on it as president. They said if that's different, we can just, if somebody signs it other than David Bramer, we can just scratch out his name and put yours, but it'd be easier if you just have David sign it.
I'm okay.
So if I get that motion, we'll bring it, we'll keep things rolling along with that project.
Well, I'm gonna sign it. I move we accept the grant from the USDA for 500 and
Yeah, 506,000. $357.50.
50 cents, yeah. I move we accept that grant from the USDA for repair brush report.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I second.
Absolutely. Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Appreciate your hard work on that.
Yeah, just right there. Signature and date.
Never give up.
I'm only 2 decades behind, so giving up, but I guess I've passed that one so far. The, let's see, I better stick to my list. I'll miss something. One of the things that I know you guys are usually aware of that I've kind of struggled with at the highway department itself is having somebody overseeing the shop as far as the shop foreman. We've got a lot of people that are very able and fill in, and we get a lot of stuff fixed in-house. So that's not taking anything away from my guys, but having anybody that want to commit to staying in the shop, help order parts and kind of oversee the asset of our equipment and doing that effectively and efficiently hasn't really tipped or raised their hand to this point. I do have an individual that's come up. I did ask him if he would be interested in that. I've got a meeting with, I'll be attending the council meeting, so hopefully I got your all's blessing to move him up before I go ask to get some funding moved around for this individual. But one of the things that really helped elevate him to that position, and I was gonna kind of lead in with this also, when we attended the job fair at Venture Out, we were talking with people at River Valley Resources. One of the resources that they had available was a mechanic tech. And then employers could act as a mentoring role. Now, I know the county highway department might scare some people as a mentoring role. But I did, before I agreed to that, I talked to Jason, I talked to several people in staff as well as the foremans and everybody that was gonna be there to say, hey, if we're gonna take on a mentoring role, you know, we wanna make sure that we're a mentor, and as people come through here, that they leave with positive things to say about our organization, and we help them become assets to Jefferson County, whether they stay with us at the highway department after this agreement, because right now it's no funds out of our pocket. Zero. It's all paid by the state. I think it's up to 320 hours. And the young man saying, hey, will they keep me on? I said, I don't want to go anywhere. So there's some good and bad. I asked him, I said, what's the worst job you have to do? He said, I don't mind any of it. I said, I'm gonna have to find a dirtier job. So we've kind of been having some fun with it, but he has been an asset because of this individual's willingness to step up, be a leader, be a mentor for him, as well as take on the responsibilities to help us keep our equipment in the best shape we can keep it with funding available and troubleshooting, and his experience is why I'm making this recommendation. So then I don't know if it has to have a movement from you guys or motion or not, but I just more than anything for awareness. So you guys tell me what you want to do with that.
I know who the gentleman is, and I'm pleased he's finally, because I've been after him for a long time.
He's turned me down in the past.
Yes, me too.
And I didn't blame him, but he has really grown and developed, and
Yeah.
he's more valuable now as that asset in that position than what he was even then. So it makes it even easier to make this recommendation.
And it's good that he's reached out to this intern and taken on that role, because that's it's a very good thing, I think, because it'll help not just for his time there, but long term, because as that kid goes out and talks to folks and
Yes, and as I've mentioned with you guys, and as I mentioned with council, I mean, right now I've got a really good staff, you know, and I know when we were going through budgeting last year, I had over 250 hours or 250 years of combined highway work experience with the guys that are on staff. Said we'll never match that, but our average age is definitely kind of creeping up there, and our years of service are creeping up there. And when you're looking to be appealing to recruit new help, we're having to get creative. There's so many other superintendents that I work with around the state, and it doesn't matter what occupation. You know, hiring people is one of their biggest challenges. You know, so I think we need to get creative in helping people be more valuable, whether they stay with us. The argument that some of us have said, well, I don't want to train them and then lose them. I said, well, what's worse? Train them and lose them, or not train them, keep them. And when you really think about that, the latter is really a lot more expensive, so.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, internships as being a teacher, as being I mean, I think it's a great thing because it's great on both aspects, you know, I mean, for the company to get for the organization to get a long-term look at someone.
Right.
And then the same thing's true for the individual, long-term look at the organization. And so
There's about 4 pages that are on. There's 3 copies for you guys if you want that. So I just figured I'd bring those along while I had those at my disposal.
so I think, you know, it was something you're not sure about doing, but I think it's worked out really well.
This one has, and
Well,
I hope they all work this good, but the other thing I want to bring that to y'all's awareness, there may be other offices that may be able to utilize the same service.
Sure.
You know, and help them get started.
is this through the Department of Workforce Development?
River Valley Resources is funded, or they have an agreement with. Workforce.
Okay.
So it all ties together. Okay, now that if you want to do anything else with that? Information good enough?
Yep.
Because it's up to council anyway. If we got the money, he's still gonna have the title, just not.
Does he know that?
Well, I kind
Okay.
of, I told you.
All right, that's all right.
I'll have to have another conversation I'd rather not have,
Let's
yeah.
not go.
Move on.
Just before we change these.
Okay. Our bridge inspection, we've gotten back our summary, so to speak, and I was just gonna hit a few of the highlights on it. Luckily, right now, I was gonna look at that. I don't think I have a bridge on 12-month inspection. If I do, it's only 107, which is on federal aid for 2024. But that is a really big deal in the state of Indiana to not have bridges on an early extra inspection. It costs extra money to come in and do. And a lot of that's been because of the bridge maintenance preservation and the planning ahead of a lot of people way before my time. You know, so I definitely want to give kudos to those guys. Just in replacement projects right now, we've got about $2,293,000 in those projects that are planned here in the next few years. The rehab projects right now are totaling over $5,254,000. That does not take into account, and this is kind of the part for need and the importance of our Coombe Bridge Fund and using those very wisely and as efficiently as we can, because it does not include a lot of the in-house maintenance, which is anything from riprap that needs to be put around the abutment walls when they get washed out due to rains. Doesn't include the clearing vegetation, cleaning the bridge decks, the joints, the gutters, the drains, regrade approaches on some of the gravel roads. And part of what I'm wanting to be able to do when we have paving projects that get close is paving up to those bridges so that I don't have the graders close. The trucks don't get gravel on the bridge decks, and it just helps to keep everything cleaner and helps them last longer, as well as clearing the debris out of the channel. And I don't think I'd cleared that much debris out of a channel until we had that brushy fork event. And when you can completely dam up bridges that fast, it's amazing. I've run some big pieces of equipment, but ain't nothing compared to that amount of water that came through the brushy fork. With that, that is all I had for this evening. You guys have anything else for me?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Mr. Troy, waiting in the wings.
Good evening. Evening. I'm gonna be brief this evening. I gave you guys a couple of documents, and I'm gonna add to that real quick at the last minute here. I'm even gonna share it on the ball. Okay. They tell you. Radio. I knew that was you, hey, Troy. It's been bugging me for the last half hour, 40 minutes. Yeah, I know, we're both a little older, a little heavier, a little tired. First thing we'll talk about is, the meeting that I asked for your attendance at was pushed back 30 days by the Department of Homeland Security because of the outbreak of tornadoes across 12 counties and their inavailability to conduct that presentation on that other scheduled day. So the new date is May 24th, 10 a.m., still at Ivy Tech, still has the large invitation list. And I would still very much encourage you guys to attend, or at least one of you to represent everyone. So just an update on that. Looking at the drought monitor, our area is still clear, but looking at the northwest, obviously it's the first sign of summer, and that should creep down a little further like it always does. And the last thing that I will actually, one of the last things is the document that I just gave you is a week from Saturday. The LEPC, or the Local Emergency Planning Committee, and EMA is helping them coordinate their annual exercise. We're partnering with Hanover College this year to use the campus. It's a full-scale exercise, which usually only occurs about every 3 or 4 years. It's a functional or tabletop or whatever, but this is full-scale, full-blown, hands-on, pulling all the stops and bells and whistles and all that stuff. So,
What are you releasing?
and they won't tell us. Yeah, well, ISTS is the contracted vendor, some sort of a chemical and a loading dock scenario, but that's all I know. So, I don't know. It's delivered for the Science Center. But anyway, that's going on. What I gave you is a copy of the public announcement that we're gonna do as part of the public outreach to let everybody know that it's just a drill, it's not real, all that sort of stuff. So, but asking the media to share that information as much as you possibly can, and we're gonna push it out on Rave to the community and Facebook and so on and so forth. So that's underway. And then the last thing is I'm on the agenda, I guess, for the county council meeting. We talked about the AEDs that we talked about last time. So if one of you are free Tuesday evening, appreciate the back row support with me if one of you can make it. So just to talk about those two devices for the fairgrounds. Any other questions or long-term plan questions that they might have, as whatever your all's desires are. So, but that's Tuesday coming up to the council meeting. That's all I've got. Any questions for me?
I have one.
Sure.
I went to the Jefferson County Veterans meeting yesterday. They are putting out flag boxes, in other words, where people can put their torn or. Would you have a problem with putting one on the logistics in Hanover? But they were wanting a good Hanover location.
Is it
Is it
external?
It'd be on the outside.
Yeah. Sure.
And it's blocked and everything.
Yeah, I mean, like the one we have here in this building wouldn't make it outside, but in the cardboard ones like at the courthouse obviously would be, as long as it's suitable for outdoors,
these are
whatever you guys want to do.
Manufactured, and you got to lift, and once you drop it, you can't get back in, and they would maintain it, so.
Sure.
And I said something to him and I wanted to know before I committed, so.
Sounds great.
But they wanted, that's a good location.
Sure.
Easy to find, so I will relay that. That's all I had.
Anything else? Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Chris, you have anything?
Well, the vet prices just went up on us a little bit again, so, I'm needing to change our adoption fees, and I'm trying to get it to where we're not losing a lot of money. So I was hoping that we could get it to where dog adoptions would be 200, no matter what, it's a straight fee. In that though, we would still be losing a little money, but it would still be cheap enough that I think we'd still get adoptions. It's comparable to the surrounding counties in pricing. And then with cats, I want to go up to 100, and that is with, if we're using Carrollton, that's like right what we pay for them going there. We got $100, a little cheaper for a male, but just to get that as a straight fee for adoptions instead of the per vet arrangement. If you all are okay with that, because we are losing quite a bit of money. Like right
Is a
now.
cat, neighboring counties about the same?
Yeah, well, in Scottsburg, it's 70 to adopt a cat there. But they also have their in-house vets and that comes in like their time and equipment, all that's free, so they just charge for what they actually use. So they get a lot of stuff a lot cheaper than we do. But like, right now, if we use our local vets on a female dog, they're charging us $225 to get them spayed and to get us rabies, that's a combination. For a male dog, they're charging us $150 for the neuter and rabies. Female cat, they're charging $125 for the spay and the rabies, and $100 per male cat to be neutered and to get the rabies. Carrollton is a little less, but when you add our gas to drive them to Carrollton and the time of paying the staff to drive 2 hours a day, because they have to drive it, drop it off, and then go back in the evening and pick it up. And all that, it equals out to be about the same of a loss that we're losing no matter where we go at our current prices. I
It's
know,
not a good way to do business.
no, and
I don't know
we're,
what the answer is.
well, I would like to start at these prices and see how it goes, if that's okay with you all, just.
That'd be a good thing.
Try it.
I think in the long run, it's gonna equal out between the male and female, you know, that I'm not losing a lot of money per animal.
Try it for a month and see how it works out.
Yeah, if y'all are okay with that, I'd
Yeah,
like to
I
start.
mean, I
that
think we're
soon.
still working on a couple other things.
Yeah.
It's taking a lot longer than we.
But if we continue at our current
Sure.
prices, I'll be asking for money at the end of the year again. So we need
We
to
don't
make
wanna
a
do
change
that.
sooner than later
Sure.
on that.
So let's try this. I mean, I think you're right. See what happens with the adoptions if they
Fall,
Yeah, and if they start to fumble, then I'll start looking for, you know, some better solution. Been looking at getting low-cost spay neuter clinics back down here. But with COVID, they're lacking in
helps.
vets and people to actually come do the transport and stuff like that. So that might be next year's project of getting in. It don't look like, they're gonna have the staffing to get anything here this year. And then on our foster to adopt the program, we're allowing people to foster for 30 days to see if they want to adopt. I just think after watching it for the last 6 months and really paying attention to how it works, I think we definitely need to do that. They can be fostered if they're under 6 months of age. Because a lot of that is coming back. The younger ones are coming back because they're like, we didn't really want a puppy. You know, but they kept it for 30 days, so it's coming back 30 days older. Not trained as well. Doesn't like coming back to the shelter, being that young, and we're starting to get a little troublemakers from that. So I definitely want to make that a policy if that's, if y'all are okay with that. Y'all
My
need a vote?
question is, what do you do?
I just
If a
changed
pup
it.
comes in, he's 4 months old, you can't keep him for 2 months.
No, the only option is you have to adopt him.
Gotcha.
You can't foster him for that 30 days on the whim of, yeah, we
If
might
he's-
keep him, we might not. You have to
I got you.
commit to anything under 6 months to get them. And then when they come back, you know, there's fees, there's stuff. If they bring me back, if they decide I don't want a puppy, then they have to relinquish the puppy back to me. There's fees, there's other routes that kind of help with medical issues and stuff like that. They're help with the funding of having an animal return like that. And then we've also had an issue like with the college students. I want to try to make it in this foster to adopt program. We've had a couple that fostered, they all finished their adoptions, but the animals left the county because they went home for spring break. And then they didn't come back with the adopter. So the animal was out of our county, and if they hadn't come and finished the adoption, I would not have been able to go reclaim that animal because it wouldn't have been in our county anymore. Well, I kind of want to make it to where they can't, unless they have a physical Jefferson County act, that they can participate in the foster to adopt program too. Because I'm scared I'm gonna lose a dog or a cat.
You're Hanover, you would have a Hanover resident, address, right? Well, you're
Well, I think a permanent home of record would be,
permanent Jefferson County resident.
Permanent, yeah, yeah, not
Yeah.
one where, well, we're here for the school, you know, for the next 4 years, but our mailing address is up here, you know,
Fairhope.
yeah.
Mhm.
If that's okay,
Permanent Jefferson
Yeah.
County resident.
I'd like to
address.
change that up. And then, want to come back around to Julie, Patterson, who's been helping us with, the feral cats and kind of the crazier cats that come in. I want to know if on occasion that I can get her to invoice me for her time and her gas, because she's taking cats that we are deemed feral, getting them fixed for free, but she's driving all the way to Cincinnati to UCAN, and then bringing them back to me. And I just want a way to like reimburse her time for doing this for me, just on occasion to allow her to like invoice me. And then I pay her out of the medical fund, because she's helping for the medical of these animals and getting them done free so that I can give them to Barnes for free. And just a little bit of money to help her out.
You got any in your part-time money?
I think so, because I had to take
Okay,
that,
I'm just,
yeah, I had to,
so I think we'd be open to it, come up with some amounts that you're thinking about.
yeah, she was like $40.
Well,
You could help me every so often.
I know, I'm just get that settled and then present that to us and then.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, yeah, we can do that.
I mean, you know about how many times she goes,
yes.
yeah.
And kitten season and upper respiratory is upon us. The shelter is, getting
Kitten
quite a
season
few,
is-
yes. Well, with
Sure.
kittens comes upper respiratory
Yeah,
and so we've got a hold on, we've got like 7 kittens up there now that all have upper respiratory, but we got them in the medical room and we're doing our PPE and everything, but that's about to hit us. Number one,
as
too,
long as you don't get parvo,
right? Well, upper respiratory is kind of
leads to it.
takes them out, but we did have one kitten pass at the shelter because it couldn't fight the upper respiratory. Just wanted y'all aware of that, and, but other than that, I mean, we're full on dogs right now, but our adoptions, we're still doing pretty good. A lot of the reason we're full is we're still in our 3-day hold on a bunch of the animals that we got, so. Looking for owners.
How many cats you got, or kittens, or felines?
There is about 18 up there now, counting all the kittens.
That's not bad, I mean, you used to have 54 at a time.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're doing pretty good. Thanks to Pet Sense helping us with their 4 cages with cats. I don't know what it is about getting one in a cage at Pet Sense adopted like within the day.
Good,
I'm loving that relationship.
yeah, good deal.
But yeah,
Um,
that's all.
Keep the publicity up on the adoptions. I think that's always a good way to get.
Yeah, we're trying. It's getting a little hard because there's so many. We've been missing pictures because a lot happens. So.
Sure, but just when you can, it's always a good tug at the heartstrings, you know.
I guess that's about it. If y'all are good with me changing the
Yeah.
price and stuff. Okay.
Yep. We'll
All right.
keep working on the other things and,
Yep. We'll get there.
you know,
Thank you.
Yep.
yeah, thanks.
Okay. I don't see anybody else, Mr. Pitt.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
And ladies. Can I borrow your shirt here for a minute?
Yeah.
Not the one you got on.
It's all personal.
You all remember Stephanie Hellman in the River Suite? She gave it up a couple years ago. And believe it or not, they restarted it. Did anybody know about it? I didn't know about it. But I happened to be down on the riverfront, and this nice young man from the church up on the hill had a tent set up, bunch of t-shirts and gloves, and doing river sweep in April this year, about 2 weeks ago. And I thought, you know what? We need to help them out and do a little bit better job of publicizing what they do. So I said, I got 3 hardworking commissioners that would love to have a pair of gloves and a t-shirt just in advance for next year, because they can wear those next year and use the gloves.
I was only able to get one bag of trash on the city truck, by the way, but this kind of leads into what we've been talking about with water and a lot of what's been going on.
So is it gonna be April?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I gave him my
'Cause
card.
I thought it moved around, so.
Yeah, it does move around. So I asked the young
Just
man,
make sure.
I said, hey, and he said he'd get a hold of paper too, just so you know, so. But it did, publicity wasn't that good.
Yeah,
So we'll have to do that. But he had plenty of t-shirts and gloves. I said, give me some and I'll get them out to people. So that'll help you guys remember for next year, okay? But talking about river sweep and water, we can talk a lot about water that I have. We're gonna have a stormwater and flood map workshop at the fairgrounds for the general public, May 31st. Thanks to David, he's agreed to let me borrow his consultant to do this presentation. And this is really for the Indian Kentucky watershed. And we're gonna be talking about a couple of things I think that may help with Audubon Park. I did a real quick math.
Mhm.
And if you have, and I'm a firm believer in rain barrels and rain gardens, which doesn't sound, 55 gallons of water doesn't sound like much when it comes off your roof. If you've got 200 houses with 55 gallons, if I do the math on that, how many gallons of water that is? 10,000 gallons. It's a lot of water that can still be stored. And I tell you, that is the best stuff to water your plants and your gardens with. It's great stuff. Rain gardens is another good thing. So we'll be talking about those. I gotta tell Heather to do that, David, make sure she's got something on that. But we'll be talking about that at the fairgrounds. And if you need any information, the Soil and Water District here in Jefferson County, Kristen there is a good resource to talk to about rain barrels. And I think I'm thinking maybe $100 for a rain barrel. A lot cheaper than replacing the floor or dealing with flood water. So just so you know. But I think that's we're right now, we're tentatively scheduling it for May 31st at the fairgrounds, about 5 p.m. is when we're gonna start. Now, Kristen and I have still got to finalize that, and we'll get all that information out to you. But mark May 31st on your calendars if you would, please. And Bobby was talking about what happened on Brushy Fork. If you want to see what can happen to a bridge, just go down Bennington Pike in Switzerland County. They've got 3 or 4 bridges that just don't exist. Well, the bridges exist, but the approaches are like this. They're in the ground. So I mean, it's just, and it's not pretty, is it? And I never want to see another Brushy Fork in this county. Never. But that's enough about water. ADA, American Disabilities Act. I went to a workshop last week up in Indianapolis. Spent a whole day up there and I think that's a 4-year college degree to learn everything you gotta know about that in the book.
Yeah.
I think but it's a great, we're talking about accessibility for all citizens, which I think is a great thing to be and do. But it's a lot of measurements, a lot of surveys. And we've put a bid out. It was due in the end of last month, and we got 2 bids in. We got 1 decline. And 1 said they would send it in, but I didn't get anything from them. So you've got the 2 bids. We've got a couple issues with them, and cost is one, of course. We're all looking at cost. The other thing is timing. 1 bid's going to take 6 to 8 months to complete, and that puts us into 2024, which is really too late for us. We really need something this year on the survey and our transition plan and our Title VI recommendations. So the other one's 2 to 4 months. So I think I gave the bids to Sarah. I don't know if y'all got them yet, but I'd ask you to take a look at them, and I'd like to get a vote on if I could next meeting so we can get these moving.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's critical that we get this thing started and get it going. I won't talk about the pros and cons. If you want to know about the pros and cons with me, I can talk about you individually. But really what we have to do is look at what we have, which Josh Klein did a transition plan. It's on our website for 2021. And a lot of work in 2022, which you guys have seen. We've got some work to do in 2023. We've got a new electronic form for ADA concerns and complaints that will come in. Sarah put that on the website, so we got that there. Got my phone number on there. There was a phone number on there that was a non-working number, which I don't know how it got on there, but we got my phone number on there, so people can have call me with any issues or concerns or anything they see out there. We have not gotten any complaints anymore. So, and when we do, we'll address it. I think that's the thing I've told the NDOT folks that manage ADA up there, that when we see a complaint, we address it and come to a reasonable solution for that. So I'll bring those to you guys when that happens. But take a look, if you would, at those bids, and if I can get a vote on them next meeting, I'll be here, and any questions or anything, be sure and we'll address them in the meeting and see what we can do. But I thank you guys for taking a look. A lot of reading, if we don't have enough reading to do, but the surveyor's office has been pretty busy. Fortunately, spring rains haven't been too bad,
Right.
but they come down in decent amounts. So, you have anything for us?
I don't.
We got the new UDO out there. It's going very well. I think that we're still learning. We've got new fees in our office as well. And we're learning the new terminology for the zoning and that type of thing. So if anybody's got any questions, talk to Lynette.
That's who gave them their number. I said, call this lady. She
Call
knows
Lynette,
it all.
Lynette Anderson.
Yep.
She's the lady that knows that. She helped us. We all worked on it. We've all got a little piece of knowledge about it, but she pretty much knows all that. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public? Mr. Myers, you have anything?
Well, I do have some good news.
We're ready for some.
The legislature did, put $500 million in to community, they call it, I think, community corrections. We call it Ready 2.0. We don't know yet the specifics of how they're gonna distribute it. But that's a real big plus. I did want to thank Bob because he's done a great job of putting that in the paper. He attends a meeting, zooming in and finding out. Our next meeting is May 12th at IUS at 10 o'clock. We'll probably know a little bit more then, but I would encourage you to start putting your thinking cap on and thinking about some projects that.
What's the timeline? Is it gonna be similar?
We don't know the timeline. We don't know it, other than the fact that there's 500 million committed by the legislature. And again, they're always looking for shovel-ready projects, I think. But we don't know the exact. This is gonna be all state money, so all the last 500 million was fed. So we think it's gonna be a little simpler. We hope, but it's time to start looking at some projects that you might have interest. As I said to Sarah this morning, if you don't play, you can't win. And
If you don't have a plan, you might as well just.
and you have to have a plan.
Yep.
You have to have a plan. That's crucial. I know it cripples a lot of counties and a lot of small communities, but that's just the way the game's played.
Well, not a game. I mean, you gotta have an idea what you're gonna do with it. If you don't have an idea,
And of course, you have to have a little skin in the game
Just an
too.
idea, so, yep.
But I just wanted to encourage you to think about that. That's good news. The legislature saw fit to include $500 million for the next biennium, so. We're excited. We don't know yet the specifics but we have, I will say that we have our RDA is one of the leading RDAs in the state in terms of following the guidelines and getting the money, and spending the money. Believe it or not, we have spent, we had $47 million, but through some good work on the part of River Hills, we worked out an agreement where we got an additional $5 million using IDDC tax credits. So I would encourage you all to start thinking about projects.
Okay.
I am. We are.
We are.
You show.
Thanks for the report, Steve. That's good news. Anybody else from the public? Okay. Mr. Lee.
I don't have anything tonight.
Surely.
Yep.
Okay.
I mentioned we're still moving forward with the stormwater management plan. We've got kind of an overview document that's been put together. We've had some discussion on it, but that'll be out for kind of some of the group that met early on with talking about stormwater management. So, but still moving towards having that plan sometime in the summer. And then there will also be a stormwater management ordinance, which will deal a lot with development standards and things like that.
So we don't get in it.
Well, I mean, you can
Pickle
build,
again.
yeah, you can build a subdivision, but you've got to be able to show or have things there to take care of the water, because you're taking away a lot of land that where the water could soak in, and now it's just running off. How quickly you can let it out, and
Right.
when you got to store it, things like that. That's all.
Okay, we had our public defender board meeting yesterday. Things are going very well. According to the state, our director is going to have to become an employee of the county, but the money's, the 60/40 pay is still the same, and they'll pick up his perk and insurance and all that, so it's a zero cost to the county, but and the good news is our billing this quarter was $70,986, so that's coming back to Jefferson County, where before we had zero, so that's good news. And also, May is Law Enforcement Month, so if you see a Jefferson County officer or city police or Hanover or state trooper, tell them thank you, buy them a cup of coffee for their service and putting their life on the line. So that's all I have.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Thank you.